What's up, y'all? We're here. I'm in the bed because this is a mental health check-in night. And guys, I'm so excited. As you can see on the screen, I shouldn't do this online. We are doing a mental health check-in with the wonderful Ieisha Beasley, and we are so excited. So this is what we're going to do. We are about to share this video out, post it everywhere. We are about to take a couple-minute break with our favorite Auntie Benita, and we are coming back with Ieisha Beasley. I cannot wait to reintroduce her to you all. She's going to talk about the pause method for dealing with mental health everything. And I'm so excited. So we will be back in just a few seconds. Join us. Y'all, we are here with Ieisha Beasley. I can't wait. The next time we do this, you're going to be Dr. Ieisha Beasley. And I cannot wait. I'm going to put so much emphasis on that doctor. It's going to be ridiculous.
Thank you. That's exciting. And thank you for encouraging me about go ahead and claiming that doctor title. I appreciate that.
Listen, seriously, anytime I have reminders to make sure my stuff is straight on my key ring, we know we're doing something right.
That's
so you
exciting.
guys, again, I told you guys, I'm in the bed. These are mental health check nights. These are not meant to be glamorous. I think that we do ourselves a disservice when everybody feels like they have to be as fly as Ieisha just to talk about where their brains are. She's flyer. I'm in a t-shirt. And this is fine with me. So we are going to have a great conversation. Honestly, she is phenomenal, and we've had her before. So I will let her introduce herself. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are not going to be on long tonight, but we just wanted to have an amazing talk with the one and only Dr. Ieisha Beasley. So without further ado, Ieisha Beasley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ieisha Beasley. I am a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed therapist in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm also a doctorate student at the University of Kentucky studying social work, hence why Stephanie keeps calling me doctor. So hopefully I will have that title in the year 2022. But in the meantime, I am here in Louisville, Kentucky, practicing with some amazing clients. And I know that with everything going on in our world, our community, our families, and internally, I wanted to just really check in with everyone and talk about pause, which is a technique or a strategy or a method that I created in an attempt to help my therapy clients sustain in between sessions. So about 2 years ago, pause came to me. I was thinking about ways that I can connect with my clients outside of session, because although I would love to, I can't see clients every day. So in between sessions, I wanted to have some type of transitional method or strategy that they could use. Also, I wanted to connect with people who are not in therapy, because not everyone comes to therapy, and not everyone needs therapy. And so pause is something that I developed to use in my practice. My practice is called Journey Counseling and Consulting Services. Journey is very personal to me because although I'm a mental health therapist, I have been on a very intimate journey to claim and reclaim over again in a cyclical fashion my own mental health, and to make sure that my own mental health is being addressed. It's been a journey. So that's why I practice the same journey. I wanted to really just jump into what is pause. So pause is an everyday strategy to deal with stress management, self-care, and dealing with the uncomfortable. So pause is a technique that you can use every day and every moment and anywhere when you need it. It doesn't require a lot of therapy knowledge in order to do pause. Pause requires you to have a moment with yourself. And so I'm going to jump right into it. Um, she said we're having audio issues. So,
We are. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, talk now.
hello, can you hear me?
It's perfectly fine. Okay, let's just go back to this. See if we can make it.
Should I start over? Are we good?
No, I think you're good, so you should be able to go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So sorry about the technical difficulties. We're going to move straight into what pause is. Again, pause is an strategy, an everyday strategy that you can use to deal with a stress, self-care, and dealing with the uncomfortable. And the uncomfortable are those unspoken things or those unspoken stressors that you really don't talk about every day, but you carry them. I call them afflictions. It's something that we kind of store in us every day that we don't necessarily talk about. So the first step in pause is to purposely. So pause stands for purposely acquire and use skillful choices to evolve. Purposely acquire and use skillful choices to evolve. So the first step is purposely. When I thought about pause, I kept saying the word itself tells us what to do, essentially to stop. However, I know for myself and many of my clients, we often struggle with that. We often struggle with taking that first step to just stop and pause, take a break, go without for a second. And so we can address the things that we need to address. So the P in pause is purposely, with intent. I think it's really hard to focus on what is going on with you internally and within your mind and your emotions when you're multitasking. So this step is very important. It's a very important step to just kind of stop and reflect. And purposely means with intent. We'll move on to the second step. The second step is acquire. And so it was really important for me too to tell you what to do when you purposely pause. So what do you do? So if Ieisha, you're telling me that I need to stop in order to address something that's going on in my life, then what do you want me to do? I've usually teach my clients how to use coping strategies, and we'll get to that at some point in the discussion when we talk about the next step of pause. But I oftentimes found that I needed to teach them what to do. So acquire is to think about what you need in that moment. So when you pause, what are you doing that for? What do you need? And not only what you need, go get what you need. So I often tell my clients to make a list. Make a list of things that they need in order to feel better, or what supports that they need, or what phone calls they need to make, or what is it? What is something tangible that they need to do in order to move through to the next step? I think that acquire is one of the hardest steps in the pause method, is because it requires action. Oftentimes we pause and we have the woe is me, or the things that we're dealing with is so difficult, we can't even get to the next step. So once you get to acquire, I always tell people to be a cheerleader and pat yourself on the back, and give yourself lots of grace that you made it to that point. The next step in pause is use skillful choices. And this is the most exciting part for me, because this is the part where you have the most control. Oftentimes when we have distress, or where we're in distress, we can do two things. We can choose to engage in a maladaptive behavior, which is a negative behavior or a negative method of coping that's going to acquire more distress. So when we do that, we exacerbate the situation. We don't make the situation better. However, if we use an adaptive coping strategy, we can deal with our stress in a way that is less harmful, or what we call harm reduction. So skillful choices is those good things and those healthy and safe things that you're going to do to move through the distressing moment. And skillful choices are vast. They can be things like actual coping strategies. So journaling, listening to music, going for a walk, calling your support person, taking a mental health day from work, taking a nap, going out in nature, using grounding techniques. So skillful choices are those good things. Oftentimes, my clients miss the other part of skillful choices, which is the self-care and the boundary setting. Boundary setting is what you're willing to tolerate. And so for me, when I work with my clients, that is a key skillful choice that we work on, because if I'm asking you to pause, if I'm asking you to purposely acquire and use skillful choices, sometimes it's very difficult when you have other roles in your life that is telling you to go, 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 go. And so skillful choices is something that I tell people, make a list, make a list of those things that help you recover from distressing moments. And if you don't have a list, begin to work towards those good, healthy things that you can do in order to help you move through distress. And so distress is sometimes temporary. It shows up and we have to give it attention, unless it will continue to snowball into something negative. Distress is also something that has carried into our future from our present, from our past. So it's a past experience that we've carried over year after year after year. And we have not dealt with it, or we haven't processed it in a way that is healthy. And so when I use the word distress, I'm talking about a realm of things, whether it's a distressor in the moment or whether it is a distressor that has carried with you for many years. Oftentimes, too, when we're dealing with distress, we have to think about what we can control. And so we spend a lot of time in distress over things that we cannot control. And so using skillful choices helps you move through that, so that you don't spend too much time focusing on things that no matter what you do, you can't control them. And so moving towards acceptance is also in this phase. Using a skillful choice can help you move through acceptance. Skillful choices also help us be honest with ourselves and transparent about what is going on. And so what do we need at that moment? Sometimes when we're in distress, we seek out all these needs and we work really, really hard to get us out of distress. But the things that we're doing is not really working, because they're not skillful choices. So skillful choices, again, are just this compact but very intentional thing that works for you, and it's different for everybody. The next thing about pause is evolve. So once you've paused, you've purposely acquired and used skillful choices, you evolve. And so evolve means that you've moved out of that distressing moment. You found some victory in what you were dealing with. You found a testimony in what you were dealing with. The fact that we evolve is why we pause. We all want to reach that ultimate goal of evolving or growing or following through. So pause is not linear. It doesn't mean you checkbox, 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 evolve. It's oftentimes in a very cyclical fashion, and getting to evolve takes work and it takes time. You're not going to get to evolve right away. And so as you begin to use pause, you'll learn more about yourself. You'll learn more about your stressors. You'll learn more about what you need and what helps you adaptively recover. And eventually you will evolve. I always tell folks in this phase, give yourself lots of grace, celebrate the small successes. Sometimes we don't always get the outcome that we set out to get. Also, keep in mind that the success is in the moment. So if I'm really upset about something that happened at work and I was able to pause, purposely acquire, and use some skillful choices, and I was able to make it through my workday and do what I needed to do as an employee, to me, that's success. So we have to redefine how we measure things. If I've been struggling with feelings of sadness and I've been using unhealthy or maladaptive skills, and I eventually began to use skillful choices, that's a small success that we need to celebrate. None of this is easy. I always tell my clients, and I always tell people that I work with when I talk about pause, is that all of this requires you to be very intentional about what you want to happen. I can listen to music all day long as a coping strategy, But at some point, I have to be honest with myself if that coping strategy or that skillful choice isn't working. So therefore, I have a bucket. I have my pool, my bucket of skillful choices that I can use. Um, Also be mindful that you have the ultimate control. I know that at times when we're in our environments, especially with COVID, I have felt many times that I have not had control over my situation. And so I've had to pause and really do a self assessment of I do have control of this. I can choose to get out of bed and I can choose to fix myself a healthy meal. I can choose to go for a bike ride or a walk in my neighborhood. I can choose to engage in skillful choices that I know work for me. Um, Also, I'll have to, practice lots of grace if I choose an unskillful behavior, because sometimes that happens as well. Pause is something that I have been very passionate about. When I began to use it with my clients, again, 2 years ago, I found that they were able to reach their therapy goals much faster versus working independently outside of therapy without a strategy. And so I've kind of talked about therapy a lot. And again, pause is not to replace therapy. Pause is not an evidence-based therapy practice. Pause is through my education and through my training, I've developed pause in order to be an everyday approach. But this is my disclaimer that I think that, if you're really struggling with making skillful choices or pausing or evolving in ways that you would like, seek out mental health care, seek out mental health professionals, seek out mental health treatment. I always tell people that you'll get a thorough assessment and that mental health professional will help you develop a plan that is intentional for you, that is functional for you. Pause is just a method that you can use as a transitional object, like Stephanie has. One of the things with pause is that I've developed these keychains, and the keychain says, and you can't really see it, but it says, it's okay to pause. And so there you go. So it's a transitional object. It also comes with a guide on how to use pause in more detail. And quite frankly, you can use it anywhere. You can put it in, take a picture of it when you're struggling, moving through a stressful moment, or when you've been re-triggered by something. You can, in that moment, pause and again use your skillful choices to evolve. I've found great success with pause, and sometimes I do, provide my own testimonies regarding pause. But I would like to share my testimony with you as well. I've been pausing a lot to take care of my mental health and my physical health, but more important, my physical health. I oftentimes made a lot of excuses of why I couldn't go to the gym or fix a healthy meal. So I've been using my own pause strategy to purposely acquire what I need. And so I have tools now and I have support and I use skillful choices. And so instead of doing those maladaptive eating patterns or maladaptive behaviors that were not indicative of good health for me, I've decided to use skillful choices to evolve. What is evolve going to look like for me? In regards to my physical health, it's going to be that I'm making better choices. Hopefully there'll be some weight loss and I'll feel better overall when I go to the doctor and get my doctor reports. And so I mentioned that because pause is not just for mental health. Pause is a strategy that you can use in any facet of your life to help you evolve into the person or the situation that you desire. I do not use pause with children. So I can't necessarily attest to that. It's really a strategy for adults in the moment dealing with self-care, stress management, and the uncomfortable. So that is pause, and I'm going to open up the floor to any questions that you may have about pause. I oftentimes find that through dialogue, I can explain pause a little bit better. So if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want me to address, drop them below. We're going to take a 60-second break and we'll be back.
I muted myself. Hey, y'all. Guys, that was so awesome. Look, I don't even think we have questions. Aisha, that was very like succinct
Thank
and
you. I
detailed and very, yeah, that was super duper easy to comprehend. So thanks for that because that was not painfully difficult. I did not feel like it's nice when the strategies don't feel like they overwhelm you
Yeah,
to the point of
yeah. So
needing new strategies.
the goal was to be
That was
concise because I could
amazing.
spend all day talking about pause. But my intention with talking about pause in a public
Listen,
platform is to really encourage people that they have the ability to do so. They can make that choice to pause. They can make that choice to use skillful behaviors in order to get where they want to go. And so I think that itself is very encouraging and very self explanatory. But if someone wants more content on pause, I do have pause briefs that are more detailed with more explanation, and they can reach me on social media platforms in order to get that information.
listen, and guys, get your keychains. Follow Aisha. Get a keychain.
You
Get your
have it.
listen. I've used mine. I sure do. That was very, very like awesome, and it was very great. So thank you for that. We really appreciated that. I appreciate that it
So
wasn't super long either. So I think some of those moments where you're like, "Bruh," you can actually just turn it on, and in the 30 minutes it takes to go through, you're like, you know what? I understand this. We do have one question. Somebody said they missed the intro. So
yes,
can you tell us
so
super quick what
pause
pause stands for?
is an everyday strategy for dealing with self care, stress management, and dealing with the uncomfortable. So, pause stands for purposely acquire and use skillful choices to evolve. And I believe that when we can pause, we can really deal with what is the distressor in the moment so that we can move through it and reach our goals for the day. Um, People stay in distress way too much about things we can't control. And so pause is a method that we can use to choose what is negotiable. What do we have to deal with and what is non-negotiable? What can we pause and deal with at another time? So
This was so simple in concept and so good, and I appreciate you. Guys, we are wrapping it up. We are not staying on here longer than this 30 minutes.
yeah.
If you guys have questions, we will hang it out until the 8 p.m. mark. Her Songs has um, a few little notes that we're going to give. But honestly, this was meant to be quick and concise. And Aisha, girl, thank you.
Thank
Make
you
sure
for
you guys
having
follow her. Get your keychains, y'all. I have my keychain. I showed y'all my keys. I keep my keychain close. Also, it's clear and purple, so I love purple. But her song says just a few announcements for you guys. And then if you guys have questions, again, we got 6 more minutes. So feel free to ask those. But we have a couple awesome announcements. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching, we have what we are calling the writer's room coming up next. So if you are a songwriter, we are going to do something awesome called the Songwriters Boot Camp. And then we are going to do a writer's room so you can submit music, and we're going to all take a listen to it. It is not streamed live. It is not super public, so you don't have to worry about that. But we are just going to talk about music, its composition, and if you ever wanted to know what people thought in general about your music, you can get that from these two awesome saved gentlemen here, Mike Dixon and Brandon Craig. Um, that's going to be phenomenal. And ladies, we are doing something awesome. Her Songs is bringing you something called Live Creative Live. So I was doing a little digging and found out that September 14th is National Live Creative Day. And I love that. And September 14th is also the day that we would normally be on here doing our monthly programming. So rather than doing that, we are doing a virtual concert. So listen, we did not get the opportunity to come together this year. And I hate to announce it this way, but this is the truth. We will not be coming together at all in person in 2020. It is not a risk that is necessary for what it is we do. We are here to support writers, and though we also like to present platforms to help move people's ministries, we can do all of that online. So we will not be coming together at all this year, but again, we are doing something called Live Creative Live, and we are doing a virtual concert. So ladies, if you have footage that you would like to submit, it does not have to be brand new. You do not have to have gone and spent thousands of dollars to record new stuff. If you did a live recording concert and have good video from 3 years ago, guess what? It's fine, because a lot of us just started interacting here in the last couple of years, and I probably haven't seen that footage. So we want to see it. Bring it over. We want to support each other, and we are going to do our virtual concert still together, but not in person. So get excited. That's going to be amazing. Where'd she go? Ieisha, that was awesome, girl. That was awesome. That was quick. Y'all, that is all we have for as far as announcements. But again, we promise y'all we will be on here for these 3 minutes. Go follow her. So can you tell us how we can get the keychains and
Yes.
how much they cost?
Okay, I'm so happy you asked about that. So the purpose of the keychains serves three functions. One is everybody doesn't come to therapy, and I know that everybody doesn't need to come to therapy, but I do believe that everybody needs to cope, and everybody needs to cope in a way that causes less harm. And so the keychains can be a great reminder of that. The second thing is I am a doctorate student, and the keychains help me pay for a part of my tuition. And the third thing is that I reserve 3 pro bono slots for Black people to be,
Period.
a part of Journey is access and services. And so I believe that there's stigma around mental health still. And I believe that I want people to come into therapy, and I want people to be able to address the things that they need to. So in order to kind of help with that, I provide 3 pro bono slots where Black people can come in and get free therapy. I don't charge anything for that therapy.
That's amazing.
And there's always a theme. And so this season is I'm working with Black nurse, a Black doctor, and a Black lawyer who and people are like, oh, they can afford therapy. That's not the point. I want to get people in therapy. And so 2 weeks ago, I was working with a couple of protesters who are part of protesting going on with Louisville. So socioeconomics.
Say her name, Brianna Taylor. That's fine.
Yeah, socioeconomics does not matter to me. I want people to come into therapy, so I reserve those 3 spots. However, I do, doing therapy requires money too. I have to pay for space, and I have to pay for supplies, and I do a lot of training in order to be a therapist. So the keychains help me continue to offer those 3 pro bono slots to us.
That's amazing.
And so if you want a keychain, you can follow me on Facebook. It's Journey Counseling and Consulting Services. And you can message me in order to order one. I'm also active more recently on Instagram. Instagram is a accumulation of my therapy practice, but also my journey to good mental health and physical health. So it's a little bit more personal. But reach out to me. I can get you some Journey keychains.
That is so awesome.
And a Journey brief. So it comes with and you guys can tell I did not read all of this in our time together, but it comes with more details on how to use PAW.
Listen, and it's so good. Mine stays in my purse. And I'm definitely going to be using it because this was so concise, and it's so not necessarily, and I appreciate that you didn't say it was easy. Not necessarily that it's easy, but it's a simple reminder to just stop. Yeah. And sometimes we just need to just stop. Yeah. If I can stop and I can survive stopping for 20 minutes, I'm probably going to be okay in an hour. Yeah. So it's awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Ieisha, thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
Girl, of course, anything to help our people. And I love that you give those pro bono slots away, y'all. That is amazing. So we just want to make sure that we support you. We are fans. I am a fan. We will definitely have you back. And I told her this. I can't wait to have her back when we can call her Dr. Ieisha Beasley.
Oh, man. I'm not gonna freak you out. Blonde will be great, and that's okay.
And it's a trend. It's fine.
No,
So
I'll
as
be
long as you
okay
look
though
good.
because this whole time I've been using pause. I paused and I was able to get 2 A's this semester, so I'm okay.
Now I feel like I need to try it. Somebody urged me so I could try it today. I'm kidding. No one take that. I'm so excited, y'all. This was so great. We will be back again. Our August 31st session is members only, so make sure you get connected with the group. Everything's free. Nothing costs, no strings. You just have to be a part of the group because it is a private event and we are not streaming it live on any of our platforms because we're going to be listening to music, some of which is probably not copywritten. So make sure you join the community. September 14th, again, is Live Creative Live. We are so excited and we will be back. We have mental health check-ins every month. Programming for the rest of this year is set and fire. So we are excited to have you again. Ieisha, thank you so
Thank
much.
you all so much.
Love you, girl.
Y'all take
And
care of
we'll be
yourself.
back soon. I'm gonna be great now. Pause. I'm so excited. See y'all later.
Bye.